Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Diva Marani from the Physics Education Study Program 20 and 22. I'm here to explain physics formulas and procedures for using flowcharts. Besides, there is already a list of things that will be discussed, namely the first one, potential energy formula. The second, calculate the gravitational force formula and calculating momentum, and formula how to calculate the van der Waals gas formula. Next, measuring Ohm's law, and next, static friction coefficient procedure, and procedure viscosity experiment, and the last procedure boiling point. The first material about potential energy formula. The flowchart starts with the start step. The first step is to enter the mass of object or M. The mass of this object is one of the factors that will influence the calculation of potential energy, including gravitational acceleration or G. Gravitational acceleration is also an important factor in potential energy calculation, including the height of the object or h. This height will affect how high the object is lifted from the specified reference. After that, the flowchart will proceed to the next step, namely calculating potential energy using the formula A is times G times H. The potential energy formula used in this flowchart is E is M times G times H, where E is potential energy, M is the mass of the object, G is the acceleration due to gravity, and H is the height of the object. The flowchart is completed with the finished step. By following the steps in this flowchart, you can calculate an object's potential energy by entering the object's mass, gravitational acceleration, and object height. The next material about calculate the gravitational force formula. The flowchart starts with the start step. The first step is to enter the mass of the first object or M1. The mass of the first object is one of the factors that will influence the gravitational force between the two objects. Next, the second step is to enter the mass of the second object or M2. The mass of the second object is also an important factor in calculating the gravitational force. After that, the third step is to enter the distance between the two objects or R. This distance will affect how strong the gravitational force is between the two objects. After all inputs are entered, the flowchart will proceed to the next step, namely calculating the gravitational force using the formula F is G times M1 times M2 or the second object divided R to the power 2. In this formula, G is the gravitational constant. The flowchart is completed with the finished step. By following the steps in this flowchart, we can calculate the gravitational force between two objects by entering the mass of the first object, the mass of the second object, and the distance between them. The next material about calculating linear momentum. The flowchart starts with the start step. The first step is to enter the mass of the object or M. The mass of this object is one of the factors that will influence the linear momentum of the object. Next, the second step is to enter the object's speed or v. The speed of an object is also an important factor in linear momentum calculations. After that, the flowchart will proceed to the next step, namely calculating linear momentum using the formula P is M times v. In this formula, P is linear momentum. The flowchart is completed with the finished step. By following the step in this flowchart, we can calculate the object's linear momentum by entering the object's mass and the object's velocity. The next material about formula how to calculate the van der Waals gas formula. The flowchart starts with the start step. The first step is to enter the gas pressure or P. This pressure is one of the factors that will influence calculation using the van der Waals gas formula. Next, the second step is to enter the gas volume or V. Gas volume is also an important factor in calculation using the van der Waals gas formula. The third step is to enter the number of moles of gas or N. The number of moles of this gas will affect the calculation results using the van der Waals formula. After that, the fourth step is to enter the van der Waals constant A and B. Once all inputs are entered, it will continue to calculate the change pressure using the van der Waals formula. The van der Waals formula used in this flowchart is Pxn is nRT divided V minus NB minus Am to the power 2 divided V to power 2, where Pxn is the change pressure, R is the ideal gas constant. The flowchart is completed with the finish step. By following the steps in this flowchart, you can calculate the change pressure using the van der Waals gas formula by entering the gas pressure, gas volume, number of moles of gas, and the van der Waals constant A and B. The next material about measuring Ohm's law procedure. The first step in this experiment is to prepare all the necessary tools and materials. After that, the resistance value of the resistor is measured. Maybe use a tool like a multimeter to measure resistance. Then, the device is assembled according to the instruction provided or according to the desired design. Next, the power supply voltage is adjusted according to the needs of the experiment. The current in the resistor is measured and recorded. In this step, it is possible to use an ammeter to measure the current. Next, the results of measuring the current in the resistor are compared with Ohm's law theory. This will help to see to what extent the measurement result match the prediction of the theory. And if necessary, the experiment can be repeated with certain variations. For example, changing the resistance value of a resistor or the power supply voltage to see how it affects the current. And the last, once all steps are completed, the experiment is considered completed or finished. The next material about static friction coefficient procedure. The first step is to install the horizontal inclined plane. This can be done by positioning the plane so that it forms an oblique angle to a flat surface. Next, once the inclined plane is in place, the next step is to place the wooden block on the plane. Plane here can refer to a device or structure used to support beams. Next, after the wooden block is placed on the plane, the angle of the block is increased as the block moves. This means that the block is moved so that the angle between the block on the inclined plane becomes larger. Next, after step 3 is completed, we return to steps 1 to 3 and repeat it with 100 gram load. This means the same process is repeated using a wooden block weighing 100 grams. This repetition process can be repeated as many times as desired. If there is a need to perform more than one iteration, then steps 1 to 4 can be repeated as needed. And finally, when all the processes are finished, we reach the finish step. This indicates that all steps in the flowchart have been carried out and the tasks or process described in the flowchart have been completed. The next material about procedure viscosity experiment. The first step is to measure the radius of the ball using a screw micrometer. This is done to obtain an accurate size of the ball that will be used in viscosity measurements. After that, the next step is to measure the mass of the ball using an Oahu scale. This is done to determine the mass of the ball, which will affect the viscosity of the liquid to be measured. Next, the liquid is put into a pycnometer and its mass is measured.
A pycnometer is used to be measured the volume of liquid that will be used in viscosity measurements. After that, the material is put into two tubs with a volume of 1000 milliliter. This tub will be used to measure the viscosity of a liquid by inserting a ball into it. After all preparations are complete, the ball is immersed in the liquid 3 times and the time required for the ball to move is measured and recorded. They will be used to calculate the viscosity of the liquid. After all steps are completed, the viscosity measurement process is considered complete.
The next material about procedure boiling point experiment. Start. This is the first step in the experimentation process. All steps start from here. Next, determine the tool needed. In this step, you need to determine the tools that will be used in this experiment. Next, prepare the necessary tools and materials. After determining the required tools, the next step is to prepare all the necessary tools and materials before starting the experiment. Next, fill the beaker with water and place it on the hot plate. Take the beaker and fill it with water. Place the beaker on the hot plate to heat the water. Next, turn it on and set time temperature to boiling. Turn on the hot plate and set the temperature until it reaches the boiling point where the water begins to boil. Next, stir and read the water temperature with a thermometer. Stir the boiling water using a stirrer. Next, read the water temperature using a thermometer to find out the temperature of the boiling water. Next, note the temperature of the water when it starts to boil. Next, observe and record the temperature of the water as it begins to boil. This will provide important information in the experiment. Next, repeat the experiment several times to be sure. To ensure consistent and accurate results, repeat this experiment several times. This will help reduce errors and provide more valid data. And the last, calculate the average boiling point temperature from the start of the experiment. After conducting several experiments, calculate the average boiling point temperature that you have recorded since the beginning of the experiment and the finish. This is the final step in the experiments. Once all steps are completed, the experiment is considered complete.
Okay, that's the end of the presentation of material about physics formulas and physics procedures. If there are any mispresentation, apologies everyone. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.